What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, spawning in the left side of the map in the blue color, playing as Poseidon. His name is Squash. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Poseidon as well. His name is Magic. The map is Savannah, and this is a best of 3 rematch. Sort of a, it's a rematch. It is what it is, It's a rematch. They had the show match, the best of 7, which Magic won. Now the rematch, the Salty Runback, as it were, except not the saltiest of salty runbacks. This is only a low salt runback because it's only best of 3, not another best of 7. And there wasn't any casters for this game, so I thought that maybe we should get in here and see what's going on. See what these guys have got, what are going to be up to. It's a different matchup than what we saw from the last series. It's Poseidon versus Poseidon. It's Savannah. Very interesting map for this matchup because it does mean that this map is not. Whoa, Jesus Christ! I was going to say this map is normally this map is very, very difficult to secure a second gold mine. And going second town centers on this map can be difficult if somebody wants to all in you with like a classic, with like a heroic age timing or something like that. But on this map, we see gold mine, we see town center, we see gold mine, we see town center. So this map is going to be a very boomy game. It could potentially go the distance. You've seen some of those games that go the distance, and you know what I mean by the distance. Could be a slog. We could be in for a grab your popcorn, get your salted caramels out, find the raisins, chuck them into the popcorn, mix them around, get some chocolate into the popcorn, all that good stuff. Or it could be a really short one. Who knows? I don't know. So, these two players, very good random god players in their own right. Play in this game for a very, very long time, each of them. Magic he's been kind of on the throne for quite a while because he was sort of one of the big 3, the big M's in the Age of Mythology universe. We had Magyar, we had Mr., we had Magic. Magyar thought that playing League of Legends was a good idea. And, arguably he was correct. League of Legends was very lucrative for him. However, means he wasn't playing Age of Mythology anymore, which is sad. So, come back and play some AOM, make it up to us now you're retired. I know you watch these videos. I know you can't get enough of this game. And then we have Mr., who I could be wrong, but I think he had to go into the army, the military in Greece, and therefore could not participate in the Age of Mythology scene any longer. Also, he had to work and such. He's a farm boy. But yes, these are all things that happen. And then Magic is just hung around, playing off and on. He got married he got married this year. Living the dream, living the life. And now that that's all out of the way, it's time to play the game again. Whereas we have someone like GreenSeaSquash here. F2's Squash. Completely different story for this man. This man has been considered one of the strongest Age of Mythology players to never participate in a tournament. And I never understood why he doesn't play in tournaments. He is incredibly good at this game. And if he participated in a tournament, I think he would be the favorite for sure. However, we haven't seen it, so how can we ever tell? How can we ever tell? So, we'll see what GreenSeaSquash has got for this game. He did fall in that first series. Spoilers, if you haven't seen it, then that is on you because it's been up for a while. So, you've got Poseidon versus Poseidon. We got Savannah. They're probably going to get fast 2 town centers, but it might be safer to go for the early stables because of forward hunt. You can see the hunt for Magic over here. Giraffes are plenty. And it looks like he is going for this town center, which is peculiar because he decided to get out his Theseus early instead of jumping straight to the classical edge. This town center could have been going up already. And now we see Squash chasing the villagers over here. And the Theseus could have been out already to defend, plus the Hippolyta. There is a meta for Greece. For Greek gods, the meta, well, at least in this Poseidon, if you want to go for the far second town center. We just see the scout over here. Where is the Theseus? Theseus of magic coming over. Going to be greeting these units that get pushed back by the villagers, the Theseus and the Catastropus, hitting this settlement. But the settlement is not getting slowed down that much. Well, it's slowing down a little bit. Catastropus is going to take a little bit of a shot there. Almost does fall. 8 HP left. Question is, will Squash be able to get his town center up? We see the Theseus running in. Going to get greeted by Magic's Theseus. The villagers get pulled off, but a centaur coming in. And the centaur almost picks off a villager here for Magic, and Magic's villager does fall. Nice play here from Squash, getting a small advantage here. However, looks like the town center is still going to be slightly behind Magic's, but it's not going to be enough of an advantage for Magic for that one villager kill to mean nothing. In fact, the town centers will go up roughly exactly the same time. There's still these giraffe in the back. There's front elephant here, which may not be a bad idea to grab early because we see the second town centers up here. Now Squash moving forward onto these giraffe. Does he have elephant somewhere? He's got elephant on this town center. I actually think grabbing this town center would have been better at first because that gives you access to these elephant. This town center over here does have the berry bushes, but obviously elephant's a little bit better. We are seeing the centaur coming in. Hippolyta plus Theseus targeting down the enemy Theseus, while Magic Centaur taking a lot of fire here from the Hippolyta. No micro from GSS, no micro from GreenSeaSquash for that Hippolyta to jump onto the centaur here. And it's looking like, well, I don't know if I like that. They're both focusing down the Hippolyta here. And I guess it's fine, but now the Hippocon coming out for Squash. What is Magic doing? He's getting his own Hippocon coming out. He's double stable for Magic. Doing what he can do here. Eating those lured hunts. And the fighting has commenced. But the unit's just retreating away. I don't know what happened to that centaur. Oh, the centaur gets lost here. That's not that big of a deal. The centaur in this matchup, if it ever has to fight, and there is a Hippolyta, generally speaking, it's going to die in a very, very short amount of time. It's not going to do any damage in a real fight. So it doesn't matter to lose it early, but it's definitely better if you can... Now basically, Squashes can raid with that centaur a little bit. Run around with Hippocon, get some value out of it. The Hippolyta cannot chase it down. So the Hippolyta can kill it in a fight, but if it's not fighting, cannot kill it. More villagers popping out for Magic. Doing what he can. I like the stable house placement here, but the centaur can come in, hit these villagers by standing here, get a little bit of chip damage in, probably won't get any kills. Relics on the map, we do have Shingles of Steel. We also have up the top the Kithara of Apollo. My favorite relic in actuality is the Kithara of Apollo. I think I've jumped around on my favorite relics for quite a while, but coming and seeing it every single time I see it, I'm like, that's a good relic. It's really good for side builds. It's really good for farms. It's really good for a whole range of things. It's good for your wood villages. It's good for your hunt villages. We check out the populations 57 or 60 to 66. So Squash with a small lead here. This matchup, and the way that it's going right now, I do expect to see a fairly early third town center, but it's just whoever's going to squeeze that out first is going to be significantly advantaged. And I love this Catastropus placement here from Magic. Sitting on the town center, or sitting on the settlement. Keeping an eye on that. What fell here? We did lose the Theseus. Magic just threw away his Theseus for no reason here. But this Catastropus is going to give Magic a lot of information here. He's going to know when this town center comes up. So he can actually choose. Does he want to spam out the Hippocon? Or does he want to go for... something else? Go for the third town center himself. And we see the raid coming in. There is a lone villager here. Should be able to get away if Magic notices it. If he doesn't notice it, which it looks like he hasn't, this villager is going to be falling very, very fast. Nice play here from a Squash, getting another villager kill. Looks like he's slightly in front on the villager count. We do see that Squash is gearing up to get this next town center, but he does not have the resources. He's still Well, he doesn't have the gold. He needs to put villagers onto gold if he wants that town center. He's cut Hippocon currently. We do see this raid not finding any more villagers, but definitely forcing the villagers back onto the goats here. Now the Hippocon chilling around this town center. It looks like actually Squash has thrown this up. Squash sitting at 80 population, Magic at 86, so a really small advantage in the population here for Magic. Probably not even enough to convincingly win the fight with villagers to assist. And this is huge right here for Magic fighting this one, but the villagers get pulled off the line. They're going to be jumping in here. They're doing a lot of damage here. They do 8 damage per second. They have not a lot of HP, so you pick them off first, try and get out of here, and you get a big advantage by picking them off, but he does not manage to do so, and he gets no blue Hippocon kills here. Incredible micro from Squash. Now Squash can just get this town center and be very, very happy with himself. The raid from Squash coming in on the Elephant. Not going to do anything as Magic is way in front of that one, pulling back. And what is Magic after? It looks like Magic is actually... Well, no, he's after the town center. I think that what could potentially have been better here, because Magic had the Elephant. I mean, well, actually, Magic should have known. Let's check out his thing. Yes, because Magic had the Elephant... And because Squash didn't, and Magic knew that, one thing that Magic could have done here was go for a 2-town center semi-fast mythic through Hephaestus. And the reason you go for that is because Plentyvault is worth 10 villages. And a town center is not going to pay itself off in the time in the time it takes to get to Hephaestus. So it's an option to stay 2 town centers with Greek in the Greek war against another Greek, obviously, and then just jump to the Mythic Age off the 2 town centers if you have the hunt advantage. Thank you so much for the raid there, Ognij. If you're Russian and you enjoy the Russian content, you should definitely go and check out his content. He does good. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's good or not. I don't speak Russian, but he does Russian shoutcasts and he plays the game at a fairly decent level as well. So check him out. Anyways, back to my theory. Back to my theory. You can make 4 villages a minute. 2 minutes for 8 villages. 2 minutes and a half for 10 villages, which is what a Plentyvault is. How many minutes does it take to get to the Mythic Age from the Classical Age? 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You heard it here first. It's worth it. It is worth it. Anyways. Hippocon now popping out here. For Squash onto this town center. I'm not sure this is very good for him. The villagers should just pop out, fight, and you just micro the villagers into the town center. You got to Alt-G into the town center or garrison them if you're one-click garrison. Doing the damage you can, but he's losing way too many villagers here. This is a really, really strong push here from Squash. He needs to be careful not to overcommit though. He's going to be losing that center. And the Hippocon do get out of here. But was that worth it for Squash or not? He lost... I don't know how many Hippocon he actually lost here. He got a lot of villager kills, so that is actually quite strong. Squash sitting at 120 pop. So Magic's 110 population here, so big advantage for Squash. And Squash is going to be turning this advantage into an earlier Heroic Age, into an earlier Mythic Age. Hippocon going after the Sentry Tower here. House going down probably afterwards, but it does get a couple of militia here for free, or 1 militia for free. And the militia, not a bad unit to have. We talked about it before. It's basically 90% of a hoplite for free, essentially. I mean, you do lose the Sentry Tower, but it's not that important. Oh, nice play here from Magic, getting a lot of Hippocon kills, and Squash going to have to get out of here, but he's lost a lot out of that. Did pick off 1 or 2 cavalry units here for Magic, but that was not worth it in the end of that. I like this wall here for Magic, getting this gold mine coming. Squash should be thinking about heading to the next age. He is. He's going through Aphrodite. Magic, on the other hand, he's a long way away. He's overdone it on the gold. This is a big issue for Greek players. Overdoing it on the gold in the Classical Age. You can see the resources here, and the difference between Magic and Squash right now is that 1,000 gold. So Magic can make up for this by getting to the next age very, very fast, or the Mythic Age very fast afterwards by trading. Gold does gather faster than food in the end of the day. But I think it's better to get that clean Heroic Age and then spam villages on gold if you're going to be going for that trade play. Because it does get you, if you do it first, if you do it second, you get less gold, because the way the trade works is both players are trading off the same rates. So if somebody sells a lot of wood, then the other player sells a lot of wood, the first player will actually get more gold for their wood. At least I think that's how it works. Anyways, Magic retreating now. Magic falling very, very far behind here. And the Curse giving Squash a big advantage. And actually, a really big difference in God choices here. With Magic going through Dionysus and Squash going through Aphrodite here. This is very, very interesting. Because the Dionysus gives a really strong heroic edge spike for Magic if he wants to use it. Let's check this out. He doesn't have Spirited Charge. He doesn't... Wait, does he have Favor? He doesn't have that much Favor either. So he doesn't have Spirited Charge. He doesn't have Thracian Horses. And getting all of those upgrades out means that I think that Squash is going to be able to... Squash can just make Prodromus. This is actually not the best. Dionysus is not the best for this matchup because Prodromus is so strong against the cavalry. Even with Thracian Horses, they just counter them too well. We are seeing that Squash is sort of all-inning here. He's trading a lot of his Hippocon early for Magics, and that's actually really, really smart. I think he traded fairly evenly here. If you check out the population, it's 134 to 125, so Squash a little bit worse off, but he did trade a nice Nemean Lion raid here. Magic losing a lot of villagers. The Atlanta getting queued up. The Nemean Lion going to be retreating back, but that'll get picked off by the Atlanta. That's a really smart play there from Squash. He send that one in onto the farms and get some free raids because he knows there's villagers there. Hippocon returning over here. We've got the Carpenters being researched by Squash. Still only medium Hippocon for Magic. Obviously struggling a little bit for the food. Do we see Artemis is the god of choice here for Squash? So Squash is going for this game, going for this win early. I don't like Artemis in this matchup because if it doesn't work out, or even if it does work out, you're still going to be playing against potentially Hephaestus. And if you think about what you gain after getting that town center for yourself, you gain 15 population because you don't have fortified town centers, right? And your opponent gets fortified town centers because they don't have to spend that resource on getting their own one. Plus, they get their Plentyvault. So they're actually only 5 population behind because the Plentyvault's giving them that 10 extra population in villages. So they're only 5 population behind, but they've got a huge advantage in Colossus and in Forge of Olympus. So we'll see if that's how this game plays out or not, and Magic can make a somewhat of a comeback having the Plentyvault advantage, or if Squash's Artemis is going to win this game for himself. Now the Hippocon trying to push through this wall. They will get through here. The villagers are going to get picked off. Magic does not utilizing the trick here, and he's actually going to find this is going to be a little bit poor for him. We see the bronze coming up, potentially trying to bait out a ceasefire. I love the walls that are already set up for Squash right now, controlling the map very, very nicely. Hippocon coming in onto this back location, checking out for where the trade routes is, and he does know it's here. You do have this Atlanta is out, and the Atlanta can help out with taking down the Nemean Lion, but the Hippocon can retreat away, and this Hydra will probably be able to pick up most of these Hippocon. There's the Artemis. And the Earthquake does come in onto this location. There are a couple of villages that are here, and I love this fortress setting up the wall. Going to be able to Petropolis spam this settlement. And Magic, I think he might have actually, unfortunately, been going to the next age, been going to the Mythic Age through this town center. So he's going to have to get that one to go again. He does have a ceasefire here as well. The other thing that is incredibly interesting, I don't know what's been going on up here, but the other thing that's incredibly interesting about what's happened in terms of god choices in this game is that if we see a Vices, which we are seeing from Magic, we're going to have a stronger Heroic Age god for Squash, weaker one for Magic with the Dionysus. So Aphrodite given Carpenters, which if we check that upgrade out for half a second here, Carpenters gives an extra 10% carry capacity to all of his villages, which means his economy is going faster. Also, the increased movement speed and build rate is huge for the villagers to get side builds in and do a lot of crazy stuff. We see some military academies coming up for Squash already. And now, obviously, Magic, we've already explained why Hephaestus is a better god than Artemis in the late game. So we'll see which one gives more of an advantage here, because it does look very, very even here if Magic can hold on to this town center. We see it's 4 to 5 town centers apiece here, so no huge advantage for Magic in the... Well, it's a bigger advantage for Squash if he gets the town center down. He's going to have an extra 5 population to play with. Or it'll be 20 instead of only 15. I was saying carpenters. Oop, divine blood. That's funny. I'm a very, very smart. It looks like carpenters. My brain hurts. Don't just let me be. And the Hydra coming in clutch though. 3 heads. 3-headed Hydra. But the Atlanta's on a mission here to slay this Hydra right now. This Hydra is going to get slain, unfortunately. And Magic is now sitting at 128 population. He is just about to hit Hephaestus. The question is, can he... Well, I mean, if he does lose this town center, which it looks like he's probably going to. Unfortunately, we still haven't seen any siege coming out for Squash. If he does lose this town center, can he get it back utilizing Hephaestus? And let's check out his armories here. Magic has no armories. Okay, that's fine. Magic can get away with not going for the Forge of Olympus, the early Forge of Olympus route, by spamming Colossus out and going for his own side attack here to kill this town center, because Squash doesn't have any heroes of it. In fact, with the Polyphemus coming in, this is not a bad idea. And we'll see if that's what Magic's going to go for or not. He's not building the Colossus. He doesn't have the gold. He's actually gold-starved here. Well, not actually. He's got gold down the bottom, but he's about to be gold-starved if Squash gets this location here. And the town center goes down for Magic. And I do not think that he can get this back in the situation that he's in. Obviously, the Plenty Vault helps. He's throwing down the arms. He's got no idea what he's going for here. The hoplites are already out. We already see bronze mail and copper weapons out for Squash. He's already got champion infantry. These units are not going to be that far behind a Hephaestus army. And I reckon Squash's economy is going to be strong enough to keep getting those armory upgrades out, even though they cost an arm and a leg. I think Squash is going to be able to secure this town center. And he's also got ceasefire here if he needs to. So what he can do, if he feels like Magic is pushing back because of an armory advantage, and there's the tap out. I was going to say he can just ceasefire and then get his armory upgrades in during the ceasefire. But Squash gets that first game here. Magic not able to hold on to this town center. A very, very interesting game, to say the very least here. The Artemis managing to get control, well, not actually get control of it, but slow Magic down enough, because I think that Magic was getting his Hephaestus, his Mythic Age through this town center, and he got delayed. I don't know by how much. I would have guessed by at least a minute. I would have guessed that it would have been at least 50% completed there, because he wasn't that far behind on economy. And in fact, we can check out in the post game if that's correct, and I missed it or not. We click on all resources, and here's the ceasefire for Magic, where the resources go down. The resources also go down here, which looks like this is where the first initial Mythic Age was researched. And it's about right. It's about a minute behind where Squash was, because Squash was in front. And that earthquake took that out. I could be wrong about that, but that's gigantic. And I think that was the whole reason that Squash was able to win this game here. On a more meta note, on a more like what makes sense to me note, I find people have been getting out an early Theseus in this matchup, or in Greek matchups, or just with Greek in general, an early archaic hero. And what it does is, one, it puts your classical age back significantly, because unless you have that extra 100 food in your gathering region in your home base, you're not going to be able to get the extra 100 food you need to advance straight after it. So it's not going to be I can never remember what the build time is, because it's different. 9 seconds. It's never going to be a 4:39 advance time without that hunt there for you. You're going to have to go out, and it's going to end up being a 4:50 or a 5-minute advance time. So what's better, in my opinion, and I could be wrong about this, is advancing at 4:30 and then just playing defensive, getting your earlier town center. If your opponent goes for the early Theseus, you can't get much out of it. With what villages Magic had on this town center, you're not going to be able to push him off. The villagers win the fight. And then you get your own Theseus, your own Hippolyta out. You defend very, very easily. And then you can push on your opponents. While they're pushed back, you can just move forward because they're not going to have their Hippolyta yet. And you get the town center up first. You get an extra 30 seconds of town center life. That's 2 more villages. So for every reason there, I think that it's just better to go for the 4:30 if you can. And this map, and we saw Magic had the 400 food. I'm just confused why I didn't. Anyways, Squash takes the first game. Moving on to game number 2 very shortly. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you're enjoying the games, do hit that follow button. If you're on the YouTubes, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next game.